New sim rig? Hey, wanna see? Wanna see? Let's go. So, the new rig. Now, the one I designed in the last video is not this. I designed this differently to the one that you saw. Also, if you're wanting to know how to design one of these, check out my previous video if you haven't seen it already. I designed this one a few weeks before I filmed that video designing just a simple one for you guys. I'll take you through what's different between the one that I designed for YouTube and this one I've designed for myself. This isn't probably the finished product. I'm gonna get some custom things laser cut and made up for this. So some of this is not gonna stay, some of it's just temporary. Much like the ones that I designed for you guys in the video last time, I'm running the 8040 base. I'm also running the 8040 on where the seat mounts. I'm using a fixed back, actually ADR approved. It's a proper kind of race seat actually. The retail on these is like 500 and something Australian dollars. And it does come with some mounts, which I'm not using because I wanted a little bit more adjustment, especially coming from the FGT rig. I like a bit of slope, and they're just bolted on straight to the 8040 there. But while I am running a 8040 base to my rig, I decided to run a 120 by 40 wheel deck, and then I have 120 by 40 down here and 120 by 40 up here as well, attached to the side of my CSL DD. The 120 by 40 is a little bit stronger, so I obviously want to try and get the least amount of flex possible on the wheelbase. By running 120 by 40, it also allows me to run this slightly offset to this, because I didn't want a problem of being able to get in and out here difficult. So with this design I could pull this out a little bit. Also with this I can pull this out a little bit and have a bit of space there to make it nice and easy to get in and out of. Now you're probably wondering, how rigid is this hooked up like this? It's actually very rigid, more rigid than I thought it would be. I do have these gussets / brackets here and some underneath as well, because I really did not want this to move. Now for those wondering, because I always get comments on this, this is just a cheap Nokia 2.1 I think it is, with SIM dashboard on there. Again, just an old tablet with SIM dashboard on it that I use there for screen and little button box, I guess you could say, as well. And then my Club Sport Universal Hub with the R300 wheel on there. Now at the moment I don't have any shifters or handbrakes, which hopefully will change soon actually. I do want to get a handbrake and all that for here. But for the moment, that's just sitting there like that. And I have a 40 by 40 bar underneath there holding it up a little bit, and 40 by 80 there. And if I need to, I can put that 40 by 40 on its side for a little bit extra length there. I decided to go the 80 by 80 on the base here to keep it all together. I don't have anything else linking both sides other than the pedal plate, which I'll show you in a sec. Now I also have this keyboard tray here. The keyboard tray has some of these pivot mounts on here, which I've also attached some levers so I can undo them up, make it pretty movable if I wanted to. Got a mouse pad there. This just swings in and out. So as I'm sitting down here, I can just pull this out if I wanted to. I can angle that because it's on a dual pivot with just some 40x40 and 40x40. And what's holding this up is actually just a El Cheapo eBay laptop stand actually that I just got an angle grinder to. I cut that out and then drilled some holes, heated it up with a heat gun, and then I bent it into shape. So it has these here, as well as a bit of a lip to stop that from coming down. So it's quite easy to get in and out of once you pull and push that away. Of course, I've got my camera for streaming up there and my other phone for chat and stuff like that for when I do Twitch. And a face light behind there just to give the camera a bit more light, make it look a bit better. And of course my mic over here, which is on a bit of a boom pole, so I can move that around as well. So moving on to the pedal mount, similar to the one that I showed you in my design video, 40x40 at the front, 40x80 at the back, so I can angle it. I wanted to put a little bit stronger at the back simply because that's where the most forces are. 40x40 on the sides, 40x80 top and bottom, which does give me a little bit of a extra foot plate there. I have it based by these gussets here. I also have some additional basing at the bottom just to stop any additional flex that it may have. And this thing, I mean, it doesn't have any flex. Like it's strong. Also, a little trick that I've done with this pedal plate is run these little L brackets inside here to help brace the front so it doesn't have any flex. Proper steel brackets compared to just these cast alloy gussets holding it in behind there. It's hard to see on this side because I do have my pedals mounted to the side quite a bit. I like my pedals offset. I've got one here that I didn't use. So it's just looks like this with little grub screws in it. These are pretty strong, can be useful for a small few things here and there like the pedal plate. And the way I've got them mounted is just a T-nut in that channel that's screwed down and some 40x40 brackets there holding the back up. And before everybody mentions cable management, I'm working on that. I literally just put this together. And so I've actually been, for cable management actually, I've printed off some of these. 3D print of course. And I've got these. I've got to print off some more. I just haven't had time because I have been printing all these, all the end caps here for the entire rig. All the ones on like the pedal plate and everything. All the end caps I decided to 3D print myself because it was going to cost me about $100 for these with my supplier for all the 80x40 and 40x40 end caps. So I'm like, save myself $100, I'll just 3D print them myself. So onto the triple monitor mount. Now I had a few different varying versions of what this was going to be like. I was debating not running it all the way down to the bottom, to the base, the 80x40 base, and just literally bolting it onto the side of the wheel deck. It's probably better to run it all the way to the base, because that gives me the adjustability to slide it up and down, as well as I've got these here, and that helps strengthen not only the monitor mount but the wheel deck as well, with an extra 40x80 on the sides here, so not a lot of movement. And then also have these so that even though I do have pretty much the movement of being able to put this back and forth, I also have the movement of these that I can get the monitors exactly where I want them to, as close as I can to myself, because unlike the FGT where I couldn't move the monitor mount past the wheel deck, this allows me to move this past the wheel deck as well as having this to move it even further forward. So very customizable, helps me out a lot. I'm running some cheap Visa mounts off eBay, clamped on to some normal 40x40 brackets. I don't know if they're going to stay. I'm thinking I'm going to do a different mount for these later. Same with this here. So I had something different designed for here. I was actually going to have this on pivot joints here, so I can swing them in and out, also on the lever, much like I do here. But I tried that. It didn't work. I wasn't happy with it. I wasn't happy with the rigidity of it. So I'm running this bar that helps link the two and gives it a bit of extra rigidity, and then two 40x40s bolted together for underneath. Again, I don't think that's going to stay. This was actually like plan C of mine. I had a plan B. Plan B didn't work either. So I got to make up something for that that's better than this, that gives me a little bit more adjustability and also slightly more rigidity. It still moves a little bit with this, and that's probably because of this bottom part more than anything. I could probably do this on the bottom and it'll actually be a bit stronger, but I just want to redo this whole pivot point, I guess you could say. Of course, my 3D printed cable management under there as well. A pedal cam. Well, I've been pretty happy with it. I've been using this for round about a week and a bit, doing slight modifications to it here and there to make it a little bit better. I've still got a little bit to go to make it a bit better again. Also, I'll probably design a custom wheel deck that I'll be laser cutting and everything, as well as changing these pivot mounts and things like that. The keyboard tray does have a little bit of movement in it, but you can tighten this up to take away some of the movement. And if I tighten that one, it'll become even stronger again. But then once you tighten them, then it doesn't move. So I do leave them a little bit loose. I don't mind the little bit of wobble on the keyboard tray. 40x40 holding up this mouse tray that actually came with the laptop stand thing, and a little broken bracket under there keeping it sturdy, because I accidentally broke a bracket. I did it too tight. My muscles are too big! But I do plan on making something for under that that's better than that bracket just sitting there. Price-wise on how much this cost, I probably don't want to get into, because it's simply just from my particular supplier. My supplier is not going to be your supplier. It was just a local aluminium extrusion supplier that's close to me. Then a few things I did get from eBay, including the 40x40 brackets, which were just the cheapest I found. The feet that are underneath this, I have 8 feet underneath this, 4 on each side. Just very small feet, much like the ones you saw in my design video. Nut and bolt supplier for the bolts. I don't really want to get into cost because it's all going to be different. In saying that, whatever my cost was, I did buy additional extras because I didn't know how I was actually going to do some things. So I did buy just some random cuts of extrusion. I did buy more brackets and things that I didn't know if I was going to need or not. different size cuts of extrusion because I didn't know how my keyboard tray was going to be. I actually initially planned it to be on the other side, but then it just made more sense to be on this side on a dual mount with the keyboard, with the mouse on top of it. In terms of just different small cuts that I have, which I could probably use for the triple monitor mount if I wanted to. I did try actually drilling and tapping some of these, but I didn't like the result, so I ended up doing pivot points to the side on the keyboard tray instead of going through there. Also, you'll see that there's a difference. This one is better and stronger than this one. For some reason, my supplier sent me a lot of this. I made him replace it with this. This is what you want, the stronger, thicker extrusion. A lot of suppliers on the market actually use this to cut costs a bit. I'm not a fan. Go the stronger stuff. I would specify to a supplier, if you're looking at getting this done, that you'll get this. And also, if you're using the Springball M8 T-nuts like I am, with this one, they just slide around in there. They're not going to work. So if you do order that, you actually need to order these leaf spring ones, and they fit in there just fine, and you can slide those around. Most people tend to like the spring balls though. In saying that, I actually don't mind the leaves. They have less of a failure rate. I did actually have a few spring balls that the ball actually broke on. But anyway, that's about it for this video. Hit the like button if you liked it, subscribe for more videos, and I'll see you in the next video.